Hello lovely people, this week I am back with a tag video.
Sophie vlogs.
I was tagged by Charlie over at Charles Heathcote to do the mid-year check-in book tag. Everyone was doing this in June when it was actually halfway through the year. I'm late, so I'm just going to do it now, and we're going to forget that technically we're in July. I'm just going to dive into it and go through the questions. So, question number 1 is, how many books have you read so far this year? I've read 105 so far, which compared to, I think I read like 115 in total last year, so that's wild. Question number 2 is, what's your favourite book so far this year? That's got to be How to Survive a Plague by David France, which is potentially the best non-fiction book I've ever read, which is a statement. It's going to be a while before the book chat where I talk about it is posted, but essentially like it's looking at the activists and the scientists who were crucial in the AIDS epidemic, specifically like mainly focused on New York. And honestly, it's just an incredibly it's a time of queer history which I think it's really important to remember, and I think it's really important to remember the names of the people who like fought tooth and nail to try and save people's lives. But also as a book, narratively, I think it's done really well because David France was a journalist who was sort of like in the circles where you would meet the people who were involved. So there's this really great mixture of like the factual account of who are these people who are working towards it, getting a good sense of all the different individuals involved in these different movements, and then also like him as a person whose life was directly impacted by the AIDS epidemic and like the personal side of it. I just thought it was really, really great. I get a bit emotional in the book review where I talk about it just because it is, you know, when you have tales that deal with stuff like what was essentially like, it's called in it, like the plague, like it's an emotional time, but I just think it is definitely hands down the best book I've read so far this year. Question number 3 is, what's the most disappointing book you've read this year? That's going to The Eight by Katherine Neville, because I went into it hoping for like a Kate Moss style, you've got 1700s France, there's this mythical chess set which belonged to Charlemagne, and then like 70s plot line where like the woman's also trying to find this chess set and you're having like parallel storytelling. Ooh, it's very Kate Moss, also quite like Dan Brown, that sort of thing. When it came out in the 80s, people lost their minds over it. They were like, this is amazing. Reading it now, I think just like narratively there was a lot of very heavy-handed, like, if only I had known how important this conversation would be in the future, like a real heavy-handed foreshadowing, and also just like any famous historical person from that time was like looped into the plot line to an extent where it felt really name-droppy, and like it didn't add anything to the plot. None of these people were characterized particularly strongly. A lot of them all felt very similar. It was just like, ooh, here's Napoleon, here's William Blake, here's back, and you're just like, none of these people are relevant. So that was really disappointing. Question number 4 is, what genre have you read most this year? That's either science fiction, because I kicked off the year by doing the Tome Infinity sci-fi readathon, and I read like something like 17 sci-fi books, just like in January alone, or fantasy, because I've been getting a lot more back into fantasy this year, so I've also been like chunking through the fantasy books. So like one of those, I haven't done the maths, but like I'm going back to my roots slightly this year. Question 5 is, name a new favourite author that you've discovered this year. I've been reading The Raven Cycle. I'm 2 books in, by Maggie Stiefvater, and I've been really enjoying that. And also I read City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty, which is also really fantastic. Need to continue with that series. So like both of those are like 2 authors whom I'm currently really enjoying and wanting to like explore more of going forward. Question number 6. What's the most surprisingly good book you've read so far this year? Either, I don't know, like, I was going to say Lord of the Rings, maybe, because I was worried that I wouldn't like it, and then actually I loved it, which was like a nice surprise. Or A Pirate of Exquisite Mind by Diana Preston, because it's all about William Dampier, and I was expecting to enjoy it, but actually I was like so interested in it, and about like both this pirate aspect, but also like very intelligent mad botanist, blah, blah, blah. And it was just like, it was really eye-opening. So like, maybe that one. Question number 7 is, what are your favourite and most anticipated 2019 releases? I'm really terrible at keeping up with new releases because I impulse buy books all over the place. Winter of the Witch by Katherine Arden, I think that was an early 2019 release, and I really loved that. I thought that was a really great conclusion to the series. It sort of had tropes that I really enjoy in it, but it also like pushed it a little bit, so it was like still engaging, which was really great. I haven't hauled it yet. It'll be coming soon to a haul near you, but I have Queer Intentions by Amelia Abraham, which is like a personal essay exploration of like contemporary queer culture, which I'm really excited for. And then also ones that I'm looking forward to getting my hands on are Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty, This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Mohtar, and I think there's a second author, and I don't remember his name, but there's another one that I forgot to write down. And also Crown of Feathers by Nicki Pau-Preto, because I think that sounds really cool, like phoenixes. Oops. Question number 8. What's your next big priority for your reading? Because I'm doing ridiculously well on the like number of books read, I keep saying this in videos, I'm gonna try and prioritize my bigger books, which I am doing. I recently finished The Faerie Queene, which is like 899 pages of like Elizabethan verse, so like we're getting there. But that is probably my big one. And like intimidating books that I keep putting off, see also Faerie Queene. Finally, what's been your bookish highlight of the year so far? Probably taking part in readathons. I've never done readathons until this year, and then the Tome Infinity sci-fi readathon was a really fun way to like kick off my year, and then Pokemon Badgeathon was like a nice little like May. I don't know, like it was just a really cool concept, and I had a lot of fun like getting all my badges, and I'm really excited to see where that's going to go next. So like both of those are really fun. I also, Steve at the Lawn Gnome invited me to take part in like a 10 for 12 series that tied in with BookCon, and so then like 12 of us did, or was it 10 of us? A number of us did a video all about like books that Booktubers got us to read, and that was also really fun to be like included in something where I got to like find some new cool channels and stuff like that. So probably those. The final question is, who do you tag? But like I am ridiculously late in posting this, and so I don't think anyone else will necessarily want to film it at this time of year. So like if you haven't done this and you want to do this, do feel free to do it. Otherwise it will just end here with me. That's everything. Oh, I forgot to say that this tag was created by Dane and Harriet, and I'm going to leave links to their channels in the description below so you can check them out along with the link to Charlie's channel. Otherwise, I think that's everything. I hope you're having a really lovely day, and I will see you next week for something different.